Hello, welcome to Let's Talk with me, your host, Irene Solo. Today is Thursday, and remember, it's the last Thursday of the month. So I'm having with me my girls, and we're going to continue talking about the benefits of fasting. We spoke about the benefits of fasting last month, and many people are actually asking different questions about how do you detoxify. Others were asking about physical health. So today we'll continue that discussion. And sometimes I wish you guys can just jump in the discussion and ask these ladies questions directly, because it will be amazing for them to actually answer you. And so for us to also talk about the vulnerabilities that we tend to have before we fast. I'm actually giving you a hint of what they were talking about before we started the show. So those are things that are there. So I would love for you guys, if you're around, please just pop in, send some questions. Let Lisa and Lilia just answer you and talk to you. We are here. We are co-hosting this program today, and we are talking about the benefits of fasting. I love you guys, and please sit tight, listen, enjoy, and participate. Girls, you are welcome. Ladies, you are welcome. That's Lisa. Please, Lisa, say hi and just introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Rohr. So good to see everyone again. Irene and Lilia, nice to see you again.
Thank you. Nice to see you too. As bright as usual. Lilia, please introduce yourself. Don't just assume we know you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lilia Sanders, and it's so great to be back. And yes, we were talking about vulnerabilities for sure.
No, guys, I just decided to hint a little bit of what they were talking about. Actually, they were being a little biased because they were talking about it when I was not there. So it's fine. It's better. Let me just tell you guys, at least me and you guys, we are on one side. So we can understand. So, if we talk like this, probably we can be able to push them in so that they can put them in one tight corner so that they can be able to tell us what they were talking about. You understand those styles that we used to do when we were young, when they talk about something when you're not around and you want to know about it. So, yeah, that's it. Anyway, ladies, without wasting much time, let us just jump in. We were talking about the benefits of fasting last time. We spoke about physical health, and you guys had a lot to say, so I just thought we need to continue with this because I felt time really was short that day. So we need to continue about it. And then there's detoxifying. There's just a lot of things concerning physical health and detoxifying when you're detoxifying yourself. So those are part of the benefits of fasting. We spoke about mental and cognitive benefits. We spoke about all these things. So today, I just want us to continue with this discussion and let us understand more about the benefits of fasting. So back to you, ladies. Let's start with you, Lisa. Talk to us. You are really on fire that day concerning the benefits of fasting. Let's hear you.
I get all excited and all worked up sometimes, I tell you. It's, we have on this program spoken a lot about fasting. And one of the things that I don't think we've dove into quite as much is, and I know Lilia will go there with me as well, is kind of the realities of fasting. I mean, the benefits are obvious and science has backed it up time after time after time. But let's kind of tiptoe around the realities of what it's like to be going through a fast. And also, we haven't really talked about the faith side of the benefit of fasting from a faith perspective. So I'd love to kind of touch on a couple of those things today for our listeners.
Okay, let me just interrupt, Lisa. With that, I would want us to just talk about the general benefits because from here, the next discussion we're going to be talking about the benefits, the faith fast, because we have not spoken about that, and that has a lot of meat.
Yes,
so I don't want you to just remove a little bit of meat here and dish it here. No.
Good point.
Let's wait for next week.
Okay, so we'll kind of create the ramp. That kind of word that at the end. Well,
I like that. Yeah. So let us. I want us to finish a little bit of this, and then from there, I want you to highlight all these vulnerabilities when people are fasting or before people fast, because there's some things I've seen people doing before the fast, and it's amazing because some of those things even affect them from fasting, but they don't even realize that. And then next month, definitely we'll be talking about spiritual fast, and that one is a power pack, trust me. And I look forward to that one. That's why I just wanted us to square all this out. Then we come to the reality of fasting spiritually, because I know many people, somebody actually sent me a message and asked, when are you going to talk about the biblical kind of fast? I was like, just wait, relax. So ladies, talk to me, especially I remember when we were talking about the physical side of fasting last month, and then Lisa, you actually mentioned the different kinds of diseases that can be healed, and the different kind of diseases that fasting helps us to eradicate, or maybe probably put them at a level for them not to be able to affect us that much. And I remember Lilia also talking about the benefits that she received, especially because I like the Lilia, because she uses herself as an example. She likes to use what happened to her. So I like that, because she was giving that example, and she was like, okay, she kept on eating different things, even though she struggled with them, but eventually she saw the benefits of those of the things that she did, and the benefits of the fasting that she did. So I just wanted us to thrash that very well, and so that when we go to the next topic, we will know that we have actually handled this better.
Sure.
So
Well,
yes.
fasting was an amazing tool for me in healing as well, because I was struck with an autoimmune disease, and it progressed to the point where I was unable to walk. I had so much inflammation in my body that my knees and my hips were just compromised, and I couldn't put weight on them. So it is fasting is like a game changer, specifically when it comes to inflammation. You're talking about the kinds of ailments that we can cure. And if you stop and think about all the different things that are happening, and all of the diseases, if you will, or diseases that are skyrocketing right now, many of them, maybe the majority of them, are rooted in inflammation. So if you can, from, out of your own household, embrace a 3 to 5 day fast and immediately shut down some of that inflammation, you're going to give your body the ability to start healing from some of the things that your body is needing to heal from. So inflammation is a huge, huge one. The other thing that I probably mentioned last time we spoke is diabetes type 2, because diabetes type 2 is an insulin type of disease. Your body is, it's kind of like, if we all kind of know tolerance from an alcohol perspective. We know that people have had alcohol, and the more alcohol they have, the more alcohol they have to get that same buzz. Well, it's kind of the same thing with diabetes type 2. Your body is overly used to insulin, so you need more and more and more in order to help, process the food that you have. So in order to create a better lower the resistance to insulin and help your body be more sensitive to it, a simple fast can do amazing things to help your body start reacting better to insulin and not be so overly tolerant of it. So it's kind of like putting the alcoholic on a dry fast for a while. No alcohol for them. The next time they have alcohol, they're going to be a lot more sensitive to it. Same thing with caffeine. You want to be more sensitive to caffeine? Don't have it for a while. All of a sudden, guess what? You're a lot more sensitive to caffeine. Well, you can use the same kind of approach with fasting and insulin, and it's been shown in a lot of scientific studies to actually cure type 2 diabetes.
Okay. Lilia? Yeah, talk to us. I like that, Lisa. Talk to us, Lilia. Let's hear you. What do you have to say about the benefits of fasting?
Okay, so I had a confession, and I'll share it with everyone. So I was telling Lisa that last week I had a really bad tooth infection, and so I had double root canal.
Okay.
Antibiotics, all of that. And I was like, Lisa, I need to go on a fast because of the benefits. Yeah. So I love me some sugar. I love sugar, and it's not good for my teeth. So my teeth are soft, but they're prone to more cavities because of the cravings. And so we were talking about the detox factor of when you fast, it cleans your gut, which will reverse cravings, like what Lisa was saying. Your taste buds change. You no longer crave things that are unhealthy for your body.
Okay.
And therefore, everything starts to function better and more properly. And so I was telling her, and even asking her how long would she recommend that I fast for, because even for me, a sugar, any kind of addiction, I mean, Lisa, you hit it right on the head. For me, it's such a craving that I'm like, hold on, I need to reel it in.
Yeah.
And the most effective way would be to do like a water fast where all of that cravings and everything my gut comes out, so that I could start, like, my body will start gravitating towards life foods and health foods again. And I feel like we all
the more
need
sugar
that
you have, the
sometimes.
more you want, right? It just is
The
like,
more I want.
me
It's not
too.
good for my teeth. So yes, that's another benefit, especially if you got, if anyone out there has cravings, resetting your gut with like a good water fast or something, starving those cravings can catapult your health journey for sure.
Can I touch on that for a minute? You guys, ladies and gentlemen, you are not going nutso when you get these cravings. You know, we think these cravings are just in our head and it's just an imaginary thing. It's not. Those cravings are actually driven by the bacteria in your belly. All of the gut bacteria. It's, you know, the science talks about our bellies, our tummies, our guts being the second brain, because there's so many bacteria, good bacteria and some bad bacteria in our guts, and they drive those cravings. So to Lilia's point, if you take on a 3-day fast and starve out the bad ones, your cravings are going to change, because all of a sudden you don't have these little microorganisms saying, hey, I really want a Reese's peanut butter cup, maybe 10.
Feed me. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting how you guys are talking about the cravings, and that, I think that's the greatest thing. That's the biggest problem that many people have. For you find somebody struggling, for us to find ourselves in rehab, what's the problem? It's the craving.
Yes.
So most of the time we tend to look at maybe the alcoholic, and then we say, no, that person is addicted. No, but we forget that we are also addicted in one thing or the other. So maybe our own may not show that much, but sometimes in reality, there are people who don't sleep because they forever drink caffeine. So the caffeine gets to a point where it does not work in their bodies, so they can't even sleep. They'll just be disturbed throughout the night. So it's very interesting that when you talk about cravings, everybody somehow, we are all included inside there, even though we try to pretend sometimes that we are not. Okay, now when we are talking about this detoxifying, have you realized that when people detoxify, it also cleans their skin?
Yes. Your skin is the biggest organ you have on your body. It's a living organism. So yeah.
So let's talk about that, because you see me, let me not lie to you, I had all these pimples unnecessarily. And right now, I'm not lying to you, I don't use no makeup. It's because of the fasting. I've gotten into the routine of fasting and always drinking a lot of water.
Yeah.
So at the end, I'm seeing the results more on my skin. And I'm like, I'm really loving my skin. Literally. So I thought we should talk about that, because that's one of the strong points, or one of the reasons we get from detox, one of the benefits we get from detoxifying ourselves. So ladies, let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. I'll jump in first, Lilia. You can back me up. Okay. All right. I would like anyone listening right now to I just want to invite you to recognize and understand and embrace that your body is not one thing. It is a complete integrated system. If you've got some kind of a rash showing up on your skin, it could be related to a variety of things, because your body is this integrated, beautiful God-made design. It's amazing. And anything that comes out of you is already your body's way of detoxifying. So when you sweat, when you spit, when you exhale, you're detoxifying, taking, the CO2 out of your body and putting oxygen back in. So anything that comes out of you is your body's built-in mechanism for detoxifying already. So when you use the restroom, that's you're detoxifying. You're getting rid of garbage and making room for the nutrients to come in. So Irene's point is so spot on. If you're having, I don't use any makeup on my face either. I do use eye makeup and lipstick. That's it. But if you're starting to have rashes or things like that, it could be your food, your environment. It could be your stress. It could be a bunch of different things, but you have to recognize that your body is one complete integrated system. And it's not just because of face makeup you put on or something. It's related. It could be related to a variety of things.
Yeah. That's very true. Lilia, do you have something to say?
Yes. To piggyback off of what both of you guys said, something you said was so key. So when I was eating clean and, going through my fast, I remember that I was working out and I remember my sweat being clean. It's such an interesting thing. It wasn't salty. We kind of know as it being that. I remember it just being so pure, knowing that was God's design. My eyesight got better too. So you were talking about it's all connected. My contact, I wear contacts, but I would go to the doctor and they would start to reverse and be like, oh no, you don't need it as strong anymore because of the fasting and how clean I was eating. And then obviously teeth. I know, like what you said, because of the whole body as an organism, when your body isn't trying to fight off all that bad stuff, all it's going to do is nurture and perfect God's creation, which is your eyesight, your skin, the detox, everything is just runs more purely and smoothly. And the life of the body is in the blood. So the more water and the more health and everything, if your blood is carrying less toxins through fasting, obviously in prayer, then everything is just going to operate properly. And so, yes, you brought back a lot of the physical things. Obviously the skin is a byproduct, but also some of your vital, your senses, the things that you do, smell, taste, see, all of that is also affected.
Yeah. Try to think about you don't clean a sink out without a lot of water. Try to clean your sink out with just dry, if you want to clean your body out, just picture your sink. If you're going to clean your body out, you're going to need to put a lot of water in there. And it's so hard. I am the worst at it. I don't know why, but water is so hard to drink. There's, 5 other different beverages I'd rather take in, but for some reason, I don't crave the water. So I do have to force myself. And that kind of brings me back to some other things Lily and I were discussing about how, we teach this stuff, we coach this stuff, but man, I am the worst. I also have a sweet tooth. And there is a scripture in Romans that says, why do I do the things that I hate? And I don't do the things that I want to do.
Yes.
Well, put me on top of that list. I have so much head knowledge, but it doesn't mean it's any easier to execute. So we do need to help team up with each other and keep each other accountable.
The application of it, most of the time, it's easier to actually tell people what they are supposed to do. It's always easier to give orders. But now when you are put in that place to do it, it's a bit difficult. I recently found out there's something I used to do, actually. I will tell different people to do a lot of things. And now I found myself in a position where I have to do the same things I used to tell them. Man, I realized I knew these things theoretically, but practically I didn't. It just amazed me. I literally, if you had me talk about them, you'll think that, man, I'm an expert. And then now I found myself on the hot seat. I have to do the exact things that I was telling people to do. And I'm like, man, I thought I knew this thing. So I realized, no, I actually knew them theoretically. And it comes back to the exact thing we are talking about. And many times people don't also realize this. I was thinking about this actually when you ladies were talking. Do you realize that also fasting, as you fast and your body detoxifies itself, it improves your mood?
Oh, yes. Yes. Because a lot of our mood is driven by toxins. Crazy. And sugar is one of them. Sugar is one that drives depression. And I have all of these friends who have kids who are getting put on antidepressants. And I'm like, whoa. How about we just clean up the diet? Give your child a month with less sugar and see how they feel before we start throwing pharmaceuticals into their systems. Let's just try that first. Food is a big impact on our emotions. You're right.
Mm. I've seen that because I've realized the more you fast, the more you even feel lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually feel very light. It's very interesting, and you are more joyful. You are more relaxed. And another thing I found out, when I fast more often, I sleep well,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
really,
That's true.
really well. So that's one thing that we need to realize. I really wanted us to just thrash this the whole topic of detoxifying, because detoxification is very good, and many people, I wish they can really understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Detoxify yourself once in a while. I gave an example last time about my dog Lily, that every time I saw Lily, when Lily was not feeling well, she will stop eating. And then you'll see Lily just, it's like she just knew she had to fast. Lily will go eat the grass, or she will just drink water. And then few days after, Lily will be okay. And then she will be running around eating the normal food that you'll give to her. And it made me realize that even animals knows, they know, okay, if I'm not feeling well, this is not good for me. Let me get rid of this. Let my body work itself out. And many times we are quick at running to this. I'm not saying doctors are bad. No, they are good. But I think as much as you go to the doctor, you need to understand your body, because many of us don't really understand what's going on with our body. We just, okay, so and so said we should fast. You jump in, you're fasting. What are you fasting for?
Yeah.
That's why I always tell people, sometimes we are not fasting, we are starving ourselves, or we are trying to prove a point. So
Mm.
I think people need to understand the benefits. If you can understand this is the benefits of what I'm doing, and you really want it, you'll go out and do it better.
Mm-hmm.
So reminds me of the discussion you are all having when you said, before somebody starts the fasting, you think of all the food. I told you I was gonna tell on you. I was gonna definitely tell on you.
All right, we're moving into true confessions here, everybody.
Yes.
I was gonna definitely tell on you. There is no way I was gonna let that slide.
Yep.
So
All right.
it reminds me of the discussion that you all were having, that it sometimes when you want to fast, you still have this thing of, you say to yourself, okay, I know I'm going to fast for 1 week. Let me just eat all the meat I want to eat. Let me just go to McDonald's. Let me just go to KFC. Let me,
Yes.
let me just buy, I want to eat all these meat. And sometimes you go out there, you're like, let me just drink the sodas. Let me just take some of these chocolates. I'm fasting for a whole 7 days. So only now, let me make sure that I feel good about this. So I know sometimes, and I've realized anytime I do that, that fasting becomes very difficult.
Yes, because you just put a whole bunch of toxic load in your system. And I'm
It's more work.
I'm preaching to myself here because I do it too.
The
Yeah.
fasting becomes very difficult. You struggle more, because your body's will be craving more, because it's like you just
Mm-hmm.
added a lot of things, a lot of, as Lisa will say, a lot of bacteria
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in your body. So yeah, so I was just thinking of that, ladies. Let me throw it back to you guys.
Well, Lilia and I were talking before we started recording here just about that fact and how we teach this stuff and preparing for a fast. Oh, I better eat all the favorite things because something in my brain says prepare as if you're never going to eat again. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why that is, right, Lilia? Go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
tell your story. It was such a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So, well, Lisa was talking about her favorite things, and I was telling her I just confessed that I need to go on a fast, but give me that list so I can get it before my.
Yeah.
And then you started joking because there's this like urgency of almost like you're gonna die or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the survival mode. So it's like, well, before I don't eat any sugar, give me all the sugar, which almost makes it harder, like you said.
Yeah.
Irene, it's more work for the body. It's more deep. It's like literally setting it up for it to be hard. And it's almost easier when you do it that way. It's almost easier to fall back because you've just inundated it with more things to want. So now you have to try to break free from it, and now it's even harder versus almost easing into the fast, which is also an option. Okay, let me just eat fruits and vegetables. Okay, let's go to just one meal a day to just water. We're like easing into it. I don't think I've ever eased into it, to be honest. I guess I'm kind of an all or nothing, but I have
Yeah.
done it both ways where it's like, I'm going to eat it all. And once it's over, I'm like, like Lisa said, I deserve, like it's a versus, and that's when you really don't do the praying and you're not really intentional. Like you said, Irene, do you know why you're doing it? Focusing on that versus that's the only thing, like I said, with my kids, that was what the end goal. Versus, like you said, just starving myself. No, I need to stop craving the sugar. I need to detoxify my body. I need, all of that stuff. But yes, very guilty of eating junk right before a fast.
Yeah. And so am I. And it does our bodies such a disservice. And on both sides, I love that you mentioned both sides, Lilia, because it's easy to like fill the tank up with all the bad stuff and the favorite things that we love before we start a fast. But people complain, well, this intermittent fasting I don't lose any weight. Well, because when you're done intermittent fasting, you don't just eat twice as much food. That kind of, basically it reverses what you just did. So it's on both sides. You have to gently move into the fast and gently move out and try to keep the stuff going in then to be very clean. And I need to be preaching to myself here. And I need to take my own advice that I give my clients that I work with is to be a good parent to yourself. Like I would never let my son eat the way that I sometimes want to eat and do. So I have to be a good parent to myself. Would I let him do it? If I wouldn't let him do it, then I shouldn't do it.
Okay, I like that. Some studies actually suggest that fasting can give us long life. Do you agree to that? Longevity of life. Do you agree with that? They say that fasting reduces age-related diseases. So, what do you have to say about that? Because, man, I think old age comes with a lot of things. So how can we be able to navigate that?
Well, it's scientifically proven, my friend, that when you fast, you are actually, again, back to the little friends in our bellies, in our gut, you are activating a certain kind of bacteria in your gut that is associated with long living. And it's been shown in scientific studies over and over again that people who fast on a regular basis live longer and they live better and they can live life into their 90s instead of being, sick in their 90s or 80s. They can live life to the full for their whole life instead of living life in the system under, countless pharmaceuticals and being under someone else's care. So I don't know how many years the Lord is going to give me, but I want to be able to live them all to the fullest. And that's what I think fasting can do for people if they have that tool in their tool belt.
Before I allow Lilia to talk, there's a country, I'm not sure which one, but it's one of the African countries that people normally, it's a particular area. So there are a lot of people, a lot of women, actually they say so, women that have lived long, that they in their 80s, 90s, some of them 100. There are many people who have lived long. So they say that every time people travel to that place, I'm going to find out the name of the country and the place so that I'll talk about it next time. So they say every time people travel, they go to that place to just go and find out how have they done it? How did they manage to live that long? They say it's a community where many people die at a very good old age, many of them at 100 plus. And I was thinking to myself, okay, how are these people living this long? And then one of the ladies who was talking said that when you go and ask advices from these people, one of them told them that for you to be able to live long, they say be at peace with God and be at peace with yourself. And then the other thing that they also encourage the people is that learn to forgive people and learn to work hard for yourself. So I found out that, yes, maybe that worked for them, but I think that's one of the reasons why many people are struggling to even live long. That's why one of the reasons that many people may be fasting, but they still find themselves struggling with their health because you are fasting, but you're living in unforgiveness. You are fasting, but you are this kind of person who's carrying a lot of load, unnecessary load that you are supposed to be able to let go. That's why I really wanted us to talk about detoxification, so that people can know that as you fast, let go. I always tell people, you may, even if you forgive, you may not be able to forget. But let go. Don't hold it in your heart. I always tell people, why do you want me to forget? Because if I forget, what story will I give? That's part and parcel of my life. That's part and parcel of the story I will give of what I overcame, where I went through, and how I am here today. But what I encourage people is, as much as you don't forget, do not hold it. Let go. Be at peace with yourself and be at peace with whatever has happened. And I think that is the biggest problem that many people have. And that's why, even because I know many people who are fasting, but yet they are struggling. Many of them, I know somebody who was very good at fasting, but died very young. So
well, it goes back to the whole system, right? We're not just one thing. We can't just fast and expect it to fix everything. We have to fast from the bad emotions, and we have to fast from the lack of forgiveness. We have to, there's like a whole bunch of different layers of that onion.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing people really need to understand. As much as we are talking about the benefits of fasting, don't just go and take it and carry and say, Irene, Lilia, and Lisa said that these are the benefits of fasting, so I'm going to fast and then get the benefits. I think that will be off. Let me use the word off. I don't want to use a very strong word. So let me say that will be off, and it may not work to your advantage. So you need to, as much as we talk about the benefits, understand these benefits and understand what works for you. And first of all, you yourself learn to be at peace with yourself, because if you cannot, I always tell people, the greatest thing anybody or any human being can do on the face of the earth is to know themselves. The Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. How will you love your neighbor if you can never love yourself, and if you don't know yourself? So I think if we can learn ourselves and understand ourselves and be able to live with ourselves, then we can be able to handle people, and we can be able to fast effectively.
So well said.
Yeah. So hence I want us to talk about the spiritual fast next month, because I think there's a lot of meat that we can be able to bring. We have given people the benefits of fasting, but now we need to take them step by step. Okay, there are people who are very spiritual, as much as spiritual as you are. Don't just say that I am fasting today and it is going to solve everything. I'll give you an example. There is a man that fasted for 40 days and then from there decided to go to a lion's den. Okay, I like the eyes. I like everybody looking at me. Do you know what the lions did? The lions ate him.
Yep, because that's what lions do.
So what will you say about that person? Was the fasting the problem, or was the person off? Okay, I don't want to use a strong word again.
Yeah. Well, God, there's a whole, like you said, the whole spiritual aspect of that, not to test the Lord your God. And there's a whole bunch there about how the intention of our heart changes everything about how we do things, you know? So yeah, I think that I'm excited to have that conversation next month about just the power of the faith aspect of it, because if your heart's in the wrong spot and you say you forgive somebody, that forgiveness has no power.
That's true.
If your heart's in the right spot and you say you forgive somebody, it's got all kinds of power for yourself, for them, for healing, for everything. So, faith is small as a mustard seed, right? Well, where does that begin? It begins in what we think.
Wow, I like that. I like the fact that God just tells us just a small, tiny one. Don't go for the big one. Just start little day, as small as a mustard seed. Don't stress yourself trying to please everybody. Just start with the little that you have. It's interesting. I think next month is going to be power packed. I really think so. But then I think I also love the fact that right now we understand that detoxification is very important, and we understand what the benefits of fasting and what fasting can do. Oh, by the way, I found out that was a few years back. There's a lady who went on a fast, and she forgave. She was having issues with some issues that she had struggled with for some time. She forgave. Her hair was falling off and a lot of things. After some time, I met her. This may sound strange, but it is a true story. Her hair grew back. She was in her 60s, but her hair was dark as if she is.
Oh,
I'm telling you, it was not, it grew back, but it was not even gray. She looked so healthy and so fresh, to show you that fasting, truly, if you do it from your heart, genuinely, and you do it well, it can bring a lot of changes. Hence, we must encourage Lilia to start that fast.
Thank you.
yes, we will. And not to do the overeating, filling the tank thing first.
Yes. Well, it's almost like when you preach to the choir and then, you hear yourself saying it and then it's like, okay, I know what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? So, and I have a lot of accountability right now.
Well, we're behind you 100%, my friend, and we will cheer you on. Maybe I'll even join you.
Maybe we should join the fasting. You never know. But it's a good way. And another thing is, as you're doing the fasting right now, you can also start training the kids to join in the fast. The girls are there. You'll be so surprised. They'll carry that baton and run with it so fast. So it's a great way. And to be sincere, ladies, I appreciate you all. All of you, I can see that you are fasting. We can see the skin, man. The skin is talking about how good you guys fast. Okay, before we even go further, let's talk about emotional benefits. We spoke about that last time. Let's talk about the emotional benefits. Because that's something that we really, really need to understand. What are the emotional benefits? I was speaking to somebody who has bipolar. And then she said something that surprised me. She said to me, when I want to have peace in my life, I go on a fast. You say, anytime I stay away from fasting regularly, I can't control my emotions. So now let's talk about that, because I've seen, and then there's another friend of mine also, an acquaintance actually, who spoke to me about sexually related acts. He said the more he fasts, the more he's away from that.
Yeah.
The more he's not fasting, the more the temptation is a lot.
Yeah.
So ladies, let's talk about that.
Do you want to start, Lilia, or do you want me to jump in?
You can go, Lisa.
Let me just say that fasting is not just a food thing. We talked about partial fasts being non-related to food as another way to fast. And what you're doing is you're bringing the flesh under control.
Yeah.
There is a time, and everybody listening right now has done this, where you know that you should do something, but your body doesn't want to go do it. Maybe it's a workout, a walk, whatever it might be. So when you're fasting, you are specifically taking your control back from your body and your flesh, who says, I want the food, or I want the pornography, or I want the alcohol, or whatever, fill in the blank. We all have things that are driving our cravings and desires in this life. So the power of fasting gives your power back to you as a person. You're taking it back from the body that's, trying to derail you. And what does that do for your emotions? It gives you confidence. It gives you strength. It makes you feel less like I'm out of control. I'm spiraling everywhere and I don't know which end is up. Like I talked about earlier, sugar drives depression. So it's a perfect storm for Satan, if you think about it. Satan tempted every single temptation that was in the Bible where people went south. Most of them were about food. So
which is true.
It drives the chemistry in our brain. The chemicals you put in drive the chemistry in your brain that create hormonal changes and brain changes and dopamine hits that make you joyful. And if you're putting the wrong chemicals into your system, whether it's tobacco or alcohol or food or a variety of other things, even just the toxicity of unforgiveness or the toxicity of sexual addictions and things like that, at some level those are wrong. They're creating emotional toxicity in your body. So that is definitely going to drive your emotions and how you feel and how joyful you feel in life. You can't feel good about yourself when you know you're doing everything the wrong way, the things that you're doing that are wrong. So a fast, even a 3-day fast, will start to give you power back. and will start to help you feel like you are in control of this body that you're living in. It doesn't control you. You have control over it. And that's an emotional power hit, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's great. Lilia, do you have something to say on that?
Yeah. So Lisa, when you go first, it gives me
Sorry.
you remind me of so much stuff. And so yes, with you saying that, I remember specifically sugar and not knowing how I would be able to like live without it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the emotional side of it was insane to purge from it. But then I couldn't believe how much happier I was. I couldn't believe how much I was so much more patient. I was able to think things through. I was less reactive. And when I was young, Irene, you talked about teaching your kids. My dad was both of my parents were really big into prayer and fasting. And so they would buy these fasting books. And right in the beginning of the book had spirit, soul, body, mind, will, emotion, the physical side, the spiritual side, which I know we're going to go into next month. But the soul, the mind, will, and emotion, he talked about how a lot of it's just the habit of it, and having to break a habit is hard. The will, you have to like your will and your emotions, obviously, and your mind, it's also intermingled, and it's such a separate man. That's the other thing. It's not just your physical man, it's the soul man. So there's the soul is the emotional side. And so it feels personal. Like, how dare you restrict me of something I crave and I deserve, or I want so bad. This makes me feel good, which it's weird because it's the mental, like you said, the dopamine, the hormonal side, but it also releases the hormone that taps into the soul, that it makes you happy. It makes you feel things. And so, it's so much deeper, like what you said, Irene, the meat of it. But for me, emotionally, cutting out like the sugar and putting the good things in my body, but it's almost like, and the spiritual side, even the spiritual stuff that has to detox in order for you to walk in peace, like the fruit of the spirit, getting out the other food and the bad fruit so that you could walk in that fruit is a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and it starts even just with the mental detox, like you were just saying. This is not about someone saying you can't have something. This is about taking your power back to say, no, I'm going to choose to do something different because I want the outcome. And that's where the power comes back. And it's like, no, I like to go outside for a walk, but I'm not going to go walk in the rain. That doesn't mean someone's taking my walk away from me. It just means, no, I'm choosing to stay inside because I don't want to go out in the rain. So if you can just shift the way you're thinking about a fast, as in, it's not that you can't have this stuff. You are choosing not to because you want the outcomes that you're going to get from it. And we make those choices every single day. I'm going to not stay in bed, or I am going to stay in bed. You know why? Because I want to get up and see my son off to school. I'm going to, whatever it might be. So these are just choices, and we have to stop looking at them as what I can't have and really embrace it as this is a choice, and it's a tool, and it's something that I can do for a short period of time. Doesn't mean I'm never going to have sugar again. Doesn't mean I'm never going to have bread again, or whatever the fill in the blank. But it is power. It is taking your power back. And there are some things that we want to remove from life and permanently leave out of our lives. If you're addicted to drugs or you're addicted to alcohol, those are probably things we should take out of our lives permanently. But start with building your power and building that muscle of confidence that you can do this, because you can. With God, you can make it happen.
Wow, I like that. Another thing, quickly, I know our time is almost up, but let's just highlight quickly on I know fasting enhances the brain function. Let us just highlight quickly on that. Because, many people don't realize that the way you talk, the way you see things, the way you perceive things, and the way you will respond to things can differ when after you're fasting, and actually before and after they can actually differ. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so how many of you have ever had too much coffee? This is something we can all relate to, right? When you have too much caffeine in your system, too much of that caffeine that kind of makes you all kind of jittery, and you're all kind of you just can't really kind of focus and whatever. I just want to give you an example of when you put certain foods into your system, it changes how you think. Now, on the flip side of that, we've all woken up really tired. We didn't get enough sleep. We couldn't think straight. Those are two examples of what it's like when you put the wrong food in your body also. If you have too much sugar, you're going to react a lot like somebody who's got too much caffeine in their system. And you can get brain fog where you know this person's name, but you can't think of it. You know what you want to say, but you can't, the words don't quite come to the surface. Or you know what you want to do, but the ideas they're just not coming to you. Well, that very well could be because you've got the wrong food and nutrients in your body that's not giving your brain what it needs to work well. So fasting is a really good way to get, again, the balance back, to get the power back, and to start giving your body what it does need, which in some respects is just time. Sometimes your body just needs time to heal. And it can't do that if you're filling your face every 5 hours or 3 hours. 5 hours might not be that bad, but some people eat every 2 hours. And that's really hard. Your body doesn't have a rest. We need to give it a rest.
Lilia, do you have something to add on that?
Yeah, I just want to say that I've had flashbacks also of kind of the reverse happening. Like it getting worse before it's getting better. Like if I was on a really good fast, I can't think because I want to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes, and when you're going through the detoxing part, it does get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
Right.
But when it's better, it's so good. I remember not realizing how well I could sleep, like what you said, but good sleep results in better, clearer mind and all of that. And I remember being like, man, I'm so smart. I didn't realize I could retain so much now that all that stuff is gone. But I remember getting there, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I was moody. You talk about emotions. I was moody and I couldn't think. Like, you know, it was so hard to focus, but the outcome is literally operating in God's perfection. And so I've experienced both. And I think all the connection, like I said, sleeping good and waking up refreshed and not having so much to fight against in your mind, you know, technically with all the toxins and stuff because of that. So yeah, I just wanted to give like that other side of clear thinking. It doesn't happen right away.
It doesn't happen right away.
Process.
Yeah. In fact, the first 2 days almost always you get worse before you get better because you're just cleaning house, right? And your body's dealing with all of that stuff. But
I enjoy listening to you ladies. Anyway, our time is almost done. So please, any last words? I want to hear some few last words from each and every one of us. So let us start with Lilia this time.
This was very helpful for me. So everyone who's listening, it's just as insightful. Every month I'm being reminded and just be encouraged and pray for me as well, because I know the benefits. I love sharing it, but I also want to walk in it as well. And so like, know that we struggle as well. Know that we're human. Yeah. We're dealing with the human body. And so just be encouraged, obviously do it, but know that it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it every time.
Yeah. And I'll jump in on that to just say exactly what Lilia's saying. Don't go this route alone. Find some friend that you can team up with as an accountability person. And remember, your whole body is a system. It's not just one thing you're eating. It's not just one thing that's in your environment. It's a whole system. So team up with a good friend, make some goals together and keep each other accountable and be encouraged because it will get better. It will get better.
That's great, ladies. Thank you so much. And guys, please, you can actually follow up on Lilia's fast. I don't know when she's fasting, so you guys can hold her accountable. That will be great.
It'll be after my surgery, so I have to get the rest of the root canal done next week. Something once I recover. So probably the second week in September.
Okay, so she will let us know. I'll let you guys know so that you can hold her accountable. But that will be great. Ladies, I really, really appreciate you all being around. And sometimes I feel like once a month is too small. But anyway, one step at a time. One step at a time. And I really enjoy discussing about fasting because it makes me have flashbacks and it encourages me to do it more often. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And we'll see you again next month, the last Thursday of the month. So please, anybody who want to come in, guys, please just learn to communicate with us. It's not fair that sometimes you send me messages after. It will be nice when you guys just come in and communicate and send messages and let us just have a discussion. It will be beautiful. So we encourage you to do that. And the ladies will also really, really appreciate it, so that we can be able to thrash all this and discuss all the questions you have, and it will make it more amazing and interesting. Am I right, ladies?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. So thank you all so much for coming through. I think we're going to end now. And ladies, I just want to say thank you once again for coming through. Oh, guys, I really appreciate you. I really love you. And I know that you have learned a lot. Remember, you can detoxify whatever it is that is in your body. Allow your body to detoxify itself. As you fast, remove everything that is not good. You can start afresh. Without lying, I've seen my skin clearing because of fasting. My mood changes, and it changes positively because of fasting. I live a life of, I'm more optimistic, I'm more joyful, because I know that my tomorrow will be better, no matter how difficult it may be today, because I ensure that I keep myself, I live a fasted life. It may be once a week, it may be twice a week, it may be a whole week. But one thing I will encourage you is that live a fasted life. You will be so amazed. Fast some food, fast yourself from TV, from television, social media. Do something that is different, and you'll be so amazed that you will grow to cherish the steps that you took. As Lillia said, that it may be difficult, but the benefits are great. As you heard Lisa speaking, she also made you understand that even though she found herself in a situation that she could not be able to walk, this fasting helped her. So I encourage you all, take a step, do that, and you will be greatly blessed and greatly amazed. Next month, we are talking about spiritual fast. Don't miss it. Invite somebody and make sure you have a discussion with us. Write something down, ask questions, contribute, and we'll greatly appreciate. Always remember, you are the best that God has ever made. You're meant to be authentic, not flawless. Or rather, you are meant to be real and not perfect. I love you all. Bye for now. See you on Tuesday.
Shalom, I am Matimba Power. I have a special announcement for you. Yahweh TV is an online Christian platform with the mandate of enriching lives and glorifying Christ through different developing kingdom programs that seeks to inspire both your intimacy and depth with and in Christ Jesus, strategically aiming at empowering you to dominate all spheres of influence for King Jesus. By the grace of God, we are daily streaming live on YouTube and on 6 different Facebook platforms simultaneously, currently reaching about 96 nations of the world in 5 continents of our globe. Did you know you can do your Facebook Live with Yahweh TV online studios from the comfort of your home, anywhere in the world, and receive live production support while changing lives in 96 nations so far? For our silver package, you get 16 appearances for 30 minutes. We do your logo design, your intro and outro video for your program, and give you live production support during your live streaming. While for our gold package, you get 40 times appearances for 55 minutes. We still give you your free logo design, your intro and your outro videos, and also a live production support. Finally, remember that Yahweh TV is in partnership with Matimba Online Store, located on our website, matimbapower.com, where as an author and also as a recording gospel artist, you can sell your music, ebooks, audiobooks, and sermons in that space. Matimba Online Store does also the production of ebooks and audiobooks at a reasonable fee. Act now and touch lives for Jesus. Shalom.
Artists who are selling their music on Matimba Online Store. South African legendary pastor Rudolph Mabasa, the legendary Stephen Ngobeni, Apostle Neo, Pastor Triple E Bekweyo, legendary multi-award-winning Matimba Power, Mozambican Julia Magaya, Nigerian Francis Divine Gift, South African Apostle Peter, South African Gospel Group Vukona Worship Explo, Kenyan Gospel Artist Irene Solo, South African legendary Dr. Keddy, Brighton and Princess, Minister Jones, South African Walter Chabs, the legendary Apostle Petrus Mamahohi, the legendary Gift Makamu, Zimbabwean Gospel legend Shadrach Muzakomba, and from South Africa Eastern Cape, Pearl. Kindly visit matimbapower.com, and scroll down to Matimba Online Store and buy. You can pay through PayPal to email pastorpower79@gmail.com, or locate the Matimba Online Store FNB business account details, just after you have filled your personal information, then click Save and Continue, and choose the Matimba Online Store FNB business account details. After clicking the button, Place Your Order, you will see the account details. Wire a payment to it. After receiving your payment, we will update the system. You will then receive a link on your email to download your digital product. Thank you for your support. Pastors and authors who are selling ebooks, audiobooks, and their sermons on Matimba Online Store, one of South Africa's church fathers and revivalist, Apostle Joseph Sitholy,
American pastor and scholar Bishop Dr. Paul Taylor,
Bible teacher, author and multi-award-winning gospel artist, Matimba Power, Zimbabwean pastor and seasoned author, Pastor Benedict Chikonda, South African Bible teacher, and author, Mama Pastor Josie Sithole,
Bible teacher and scholar Pastor K.E.T. Huhu,
American evangelist and professor Dr. Percy Bland Sr.,
South African Bible scholar Dr. John Mafukela,
one of Nigeria's church fathers and leadership expect, Dr. Shegun Tremendous Oshiniga, the South African author and Bible teacher Apostle Sai Shlungwani, theologian and leadership expect Dr. Gideon Sabila,
author and South African recording artist Les Simmons,
Bible teacher and prolific author Apostle Sibusiso Koza of His Grace Tabernacle, and South African author Mitham Tando Usendlo. Kindly visit matimbapower.com, and scroll down to Matimba Online Store and buy. You can